I believe that if we are honest with ourselves, that the most fascinating problem in the world is who am I? What do you mean? What do you feel when you say the word I myself?
I want to fly the train! I don't give a fuck! Oh, jeez! Hey, what's going on?
You keep using that phone. I don't think it is what you think it is.
Oh, jeez! Hey, what's going on? I don't give a fuck! Oh, jeez! Hey, what's going on? Yeah, you can't get out of this! Oh, jeez! Stop joining your friends, you
I think that I am familiar with the fact that you are going to ignore this particular problem until it swings up and bites you on the ass.
Psych, just kidding. My new catchphrase is, I don't give a fuck!
It's asking a lot to believe that the problem is going to fix itself.
Guess what, bitch?
Our technology and our numbers have both reached a state where inadvertently we can pose a danger to the global environment, especially through the atmosphere.
The whales have a 15-foot penis. Are you a pervert or something? Okay.
Now, nobody pretends we understand everything about the global climate.
I didn't cut out. You heard me. Google it yourself.
There are feedbacks, some of which you warm the Earth a little bit, and the tendency will be to further increase the temperature, so-called positive feedback.
What I'm saying is the planet's on fucking fire.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win.
What's up, heathens? How y'all doing? Second time's the charm. All right, tonight we are going to be going over why this guy that says that your five senses proves that God exists. He's in a conversation with another atheist, and the channel that this is coming from is normally a flat earth channel, but they're also very God-centered. So tonight we're going to be looking at this conversation. He's going to bring up a lot of dumb shit. And I hope that you guys are interested in it. If you want to find out how your five senses definitely do not prove God, then please stay tuned. All right, heathens. Well, if you didn't catch last night's attempt at a stream, I've managed to bat away all the gremlins and fucking I sprayed some anti-gremlin stuff on all my shit. I threw some Windex on it. And it's perfectly fine now. Okay, so we got all of that taken care of. If you guys didn't know, last Saturday I actually participated in the Ultimate Debate Championship. Over on the TARP channel, and I won. I am the Ultimate Debate Champion. Woo! with it came a $666 prize. That, coupled with this month's memberships. That's right. We definitely we have the we have the notifications back. Okay. Welcome. So Trickster says, I'm back and still getting paid to bug you. That's awesome that you're getting paid to do that. But if you guys don't know, all of the super chats, all of the memberships, and just watching our videos here, all of it helps produce some revenue from the channel. And with that revenue, we donate to charities. This month, a portion of the revenue we generated, including the $666 that I won, went to the International Association of Atheists and to their Sun Network. Now, what Sun does is it helps at-risk atheists escape dangerous situations that they may be in. Currently, right now, one of the projects they're working on, and what our donation went to, was helping a girl escape a dangerous situation into Canada and getting her set up there. We got them more than a fifth of the way to getting her out of that dangerous situation. So I don't know if you guys want to look up International Association of Atheists and help their Sun Network, but I'm sure they'd appreciate it. But in any case, I really appreciate everybody doing the super chats this month and everything like that. To help us, get that money to them to help them get that girl out of that dangerous situation. So that's what we did with the $666 that I won. And so yeah, you join the channel, good shit gets done. That's how it should play out in your mind. We got that next week. We've also got some Braxton Hunter. I'm going to be responding to video he did, or a clip of a video he did with David Wood. And we've also got Kyle Butt coming up, who thinks that we should all be Christian, and believe in Jesus. So we're going to be covering that. So I think that's all that we really got to announce for today. And I guess we'll just go on ahead and get right into the Today I Learned. You ready for it, honey? It's going to kind of be a repeat, but that's okay. Today I learned. Woo-hoo! I have a lot of fun with that shit. All right, so we kind of went over this last night, but I felt like, this needs to all be part of the actual live stream experience. So we're going to go over it again for people that weren't here, weren't able to catch it last night. First on Today, I learned that watching scientists like Anthony Fauci on Fox News makes people more willing to engage in pandemic-reducing behaviors, suggests a new study. How warmly or coldly people feel towards scientists is associated with their compliance with measures to prevent the spread of COVID-19. I feel like this situation right here provides a stark contrast between the two administrations. Because you got Trump, who was shitting on Fauci, and Fauci you could definitely tell Fauci was just embarrassed to be up there with Trump, as he was like, maybe we can put the UV light in our bloodstreams. Yeah, we could do that. What about the Windex? We could put Windex in our bloodstreams too. Or was Clorox? Quentin gave me some beer money. Thank you so much there, Quentin. But I feel like there's a stark contrast between the two administrations because, Biden seeks to build up scientists and allows them to inform the public and doesn't sit there and come up with these weird ass ideas about how to fight COVID-19 in order to, reassure the rich people. I don't know why on earth Trump was trying to suggest that we should inject Clorox into our ass cheeks, but I feel like, Fauci, as well as the other COVID-19 scientists and officials, I feel more secure under the Biden administration than I ever did under the Trump administration. And I think that shows, especially with them getting the vaccines out to people, ramping that up, reaching their goal in only 58 days. I think that's pretty awesome. Yeah. Oh, wait, I had the desktop audio turned off. That was my problem. Yeah, so they probably couldn't hear it right there because I had the wrong thing selected, but I will get that fixed right now. So sorry about that, guys. I got it fixed. It should pop up. If anybody wants to do a donation, just make sure that would be helpful. Anyways, next on Today I Learned. All right, so I got corrected last night on my pronunciation. Let's see if I can do it fine this time. Betsy Castro did a thank you. What are you doing?
I blew my load.
Casey blew her load. Cadence did a test donation too.
Hey, y'all know what?
Shit, yeah.
Anytime
Cadence
is a good
me.
time for
I got a
beer.
new beer tonight. I went on a beer run last night and I picked out 3 new craft beers. Okay, and so
Woo, beer money.
Thank you so much, Christopher. This one is Elysian Space Dust. So, yeah, you can't. It's very. It's got a hop on it. I believe that's a hop that they use to brew beer.
Oh shit! This is a bigger
it's an
one.
IPA. It's a light IPA.
Did you count my money to make sure you don't lose any of my bills?
Yeah, I do. Sorry, guys. I drank the beer wrong. It got a little flustered. Anyways, all right. Quentin Van Boom says, "Just don't take this to hear KC say I blew my load. So sorry. Maybe I should do the $10 one. It's just always KC blowing her load. I should put that in there. Anyways, all right. So next on Today I Learned is of the shiphole fly. I think that shiphole fly. Maybe that's the correct way to say it. I'm not sure. Which is a fly engraved on urinals at Amsterdam's Schiphol airport. The psychology is that men will want to wash the fly off the urinal so they focus more when urinating, apparently lowering cleaning bills in public bathrooms. And, I said last night that, it prevents people from trying to explosively shit on the wall. Trust me, I'm sure that there's plenty of people out there that could attest to the fact that for some reason shit gets on walls in public bathrooms. It doesn't matter if it's at the urinal or at the toilet. They just, for some reason, they just aim and just shit anywhere they want to. I've been in a bathroom where it's like that. I don't know if they were rushing in and they didn't make it, but they shit on the side of the toilet. How do you shit on the side of the toilet? I don't understand that, but it managed to happen. Yeah, they are. That was actually at a amusement park, I think. Yeah, so that it makes sense once you hear that part. Finally, on Today I Learned. Oh, we got Jesse Shodel. There it is.
What are you doing?
I blew my load.
Jesse blew Casey's load. Here's some money for charity and for Brocephus to stay supplied with beer. Yeah, we definitely got to have that. Also, I heard last night that Brocephus was the one that fixed the computer. That's why I don't let him touch the electronics. All right, finally on Today I Learned that medical cannabis can reduce essential tremor by turning on overlooked cells in the central nervous system. Injecting a specific synthetic cannabinoid into the spinal cord of mice suffering from essential tremor reduces involuntary shaking by activating astrocytes. Last night, again, I said that it's pretty amazing that we've outlawed cannabis, but we keep finding, at least in the scientific research, how useful it is. So I feel like at some point, the overwhelming evidence that cannabis is not as harmful as like smoking or maybe even alcohol and is actually beneficial in many situations, I feel like at some point it's got to override like this whole notion that it's bad or it's this horrible thing that should be outlawed. So I can only hope one day. I don't think that it should be outlawed, but I know it's not just me. It's definitely several people, and I got fucking hairs on me everywhere. Anyways, all right. Huh? It's not you? I don't know what it was. Anyways, that's going to be it for today. I learned. I hope you learned something. But next, we got to go into, do you know, honey? Nope, comments. Comments of the day. Prepare to face bomb yourself in the next week. All right. I've got to spend some time to figure out the recorder. All right, first up is 90% Nobel scientists believe in God, which I don't know about that, but even if they did, that doesn't mean that God exists. So I just feel like your name's a dipshitty name. Anyways, they said, you know, deep down that God exists, but you choose to lust in sinful ways instead of God and the truth. You people are the biggest hypocrites and ungrateful people. Oh, fuck, we're the shittiest fucking people. Because, you know, back in January, we donated, what was it, like $600 to the North Alabama Food Bank? Yeah, and then last month, we donated to 2 different charities. One was to help in general with COVID-19, and then the other one was specifically to the Texas food banks, right? The Texas, feeding Texas. We're shitty fucking people here at Godless Engineer. We're so fucking ungrateful. We don't do anything good whatsoever because Bible things. Atheists are awful. Just no values whatsoever. We'll find out in the end, though. says Kylie's teacher. Also, I don't know, like, why it has to be lust in sinful ways. Like, not believing in God is not about, like, I guess, jerking off. I mean, I didn't stop believing in God in order to jerk off. I was definitely believing in God and jerking off at the same time, which means that I thought that God and Jesus were both watching me jerk off and were very disappointed. So, oh, trust me, it's very uncomfortable once you think about it. At the time, though, I didn't really think about God watching me masturbate. I mean, I was like, 20 at the time. Next up on today, or on the comments, this guy, Avil Betty 26, says, gravity is a joke to them. They are deaf and blind when you provide measurements, photos, videos, and scientific evidence. All they know is that people in Australia will fall off if the earth is round. Actually, I think this one got mixed up. I accidentally read it wrong because this is a good comment. Because, like, yeah, to flat earthers, gravity is a joke. This was on my big flat earth video that blew up. Yeah, and yeah, I mean, they seriously think that if the earth is a oblate spheroid, people will fall off of Australia if that were the case. They don't understand gravity, and I think that's what this person was trying to get to. Luckily, I've got more dumb comments. RB says, this moron is really proving the earth is flat with his response to Eric Dubé, globetard extraordinaire. I don't know if he's calling me a globetard extraordinaire or if he's calling Eric. No, he can't be calling Eric that. Because he doesn't think that the earth is a globe. Anyways, apparently when I responded to Eric Dubé, that proved the flat earth. I don't know how, but apparently it did that. I am. I mean, they could just they should share my video out as proof that the earth is flat. I'd be okay. I'd take that as a good thing. This proves the earth is flat because this dumbass is responding to shit reasonably. Brian Brooks, in a video I made a long time ago, says, I feel sorry for you. I will pray for you. Well, I'm so thankful you're not going to do anything productive. As far as, like, you feel sorry for me because I don't believe in your God. I also hate Phil Robertson. I don't like that fuck. That's fine if you want to feel sorry for me, but again, I'm glad you're not going to do anything productive or anything that's actually going to have an effect in reality. Right now, from what I'm seeing from Christians, I really don't want them to do anything for me, okay? Because I've seen that shit, and it just gets you run out of the state. Finally, on the comments, we have this guy, Jay Cool, who says, atheists are believers in the knowledge of nothing. Nothing came from nothing to produce everything. This is ridiculous. Thank you so much, Jay Cool. I don't know what it means to be believers in the knowledge of nothing. I feel like you have a total misconception as to what the actual nothing is that exists in reality, because the actual nothing that exists still has an electrical charge. It still has that electrical potential in it. And so, nothing can still produce something in it, most likely virtual particles and stuff, but still those things can, come into existence like that. I don't know if Drew's thing came up, but Drew said, why don't flat earthers... Oh, there it goes.
Woo! That's KC's money.
Well, Drew says, why don't flat earthers ever talk about the elephants on the back of the giant turtle? Discworld explains it all. Fucking right, Discworld does. But yeah, so he goes on to say, nothing came from nothing to produce everything. Well, if you understood what the scientific hypothesis is about the beginning of the universe, you would understand how a quantum scalar field fluctuating from a false vacuum state into a true vacuum state could produce an immense amount of energy, which then transformed into what would later become the matter that we have today. The immense amount of energy that was released inflated our universe in near instantaneously in less than 10 to the negative 32 seconds. So, I mean, it's not exactly nothing, right? It's the scientific concept of nothing, which is still something. And it's not ridiculous. It just takes a very basic understanding of science in order to understand it. Jesus Christ. All right. Y'all know what time it is now? It is time for shitty ass science. Shitty ass science. We're gonna answer some science shit really wrong. Oh, what's up, y'all? I am the actual UDC champion right here. I helped him defeat that Just Jeff guy arguing for Bigfoot. We all know Bigfoot ain't real. It's really Cain that's walking around out there naked and stuff. Oh shit, wait, that's Mormons. That's not... They're Christian, but I mean, they're not exactly our kind of Christian, right? Anyways, I'm the real champion. I stole this from him.
Woo!
Anyways, I
Bear
better
money.
put my title down right here. Oh. You know, one day I should really talk to them tart boys and see if I can get on there and debate some dipshits. What do y'all think? Y'all think I should debate some people over on the tarts? Yeah. Oh, really? I mean, I don't think that we can do it live because, I mean, I just can't stand being around that jackass for too long. But whatever, I don't know. We'll see what we can do, okay? See what we can do. Anyways, so, we got some shitty ass signs. How much luck does this lucky cat statue give you? Holy fucking shit! Jesus Christ, that's about 27 hours in front of Pornhub right there. That's what gets you. I don't think that's luck. That's loneliness. That's what that gives you right there. Holy shit. Okay. Well, basically, you gotta take the girth of the arm and multiply it by the length, and then that's how much loneliness you'll get from shaking hands with this motherfucker. I mean, holy God. It is. This kind of loneliness is contagious. That right there, that's the masturbating cat. You can tell he just spends all of his time in front of Pornhub and other free porn sites, I guess. just whacking it all the fucking time. And you know, that cat has got a spiky penis too. I wouldn't be surprised if his hand's all cut up and shit. It's a Brazers cat. Whatever. He definitely needs to be the spokesman for something. I don't know. I mean, look at that fucking arm. His muscles have muscles. Jesus Christ. Anyways, luck isn't real, okay? Let me explain to you. The luck that you think you have is actually Jesus working his magic in your life, okay? Basically, you did something to make Jesus happy. Most of the time, it's sucking his dick. But in other times, maybe he just wants to give you a little bit of a good Gesundheit, or God bless you, bitch. He just wants to give you a leg up in life, huh? You're welcome. He just wants to give you a little bit of a leg up. So he's like, here you go, there's your keys. And, you know, he totally ignores, like, the starving kids in Africa and shit because, you know, obviously he doesn't want to look at that. But, you know, if you need to find your keys, he'll help you find your keys. And, I mean, that's the luck that you get in life. Is just Jesus wanting to, I guess, just hand out freebies. He does pro bono work, not porno work, but pro bono. Although there's probably some Jesus porn out there, probably on Pornhub. I know they got that Rule 34 on the internet. If there is porn of, or if something exists, there is porn of it. So I can guarantee you that there's some Jesus porn out there. I should probably look into that a little bit. Yep, Jesus porn. He probably fucked Mary Magdalene and his mother. Who knows? Well, I mean, either way, in the story, Jesus definitely fucks his mom, right? I mean, it's perfectly fine, too, because he's a son of God. But he also is God, and is God, and God impregnated Mary. So, if Jesus is God, then God fucked his own mother. It's very fucked up if you think about it. That's why most people don't really want to, they don't want to think about it too much. Anyways, don't touch this cat's arm because you will definitely get a bad case of the loneliness. Woo! I don't know why they'd want to do that to their customers. And maybe syphilis? Holy fuck. Let's see. Jesse had said, pretty sure I wouldn't want to be in any club that would have those jerks who bullied Kylie as members. Oh, I totally agree. I might be an evangelical Southern Baptist Christian, but I don't think that the West Virginia Christians really represent Christian values. They were running people out of the state just because they didn't like being told to follow the law. Jesus even says in the Bible, follow the law, motherfuckers, or else I will send you to hell. Not hell. Hell. That's where he's going to send you to. It's the 7th level of hell, right? That's where hell is. All right? And that's where you get sent for running people out of the state just because you're a jackass. All right? Anyways, I'm done with this fucking weird-ass cat. I guess I will see you heathens later. Fuck all these goddamn gremlins and shit. Hold on. Woo! Oh, wait, hold on. I forgot my... There we go. Just like Superman, y'all. Alright, well, I don't know what in the fuck this cat's supposed to be doing, but he reminds me of... I don't know if y'all saw that there was this movie called Lady in the Water? Lady in the Lake? There's a movie called Lady Water. Yeah, it's a 2006 M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong film. Where it's very weird. But in any case, it's got one guy in there that apparently only works out one of his arms. And apparently that comes into like play at the very end when he's trying to fight off the creature or whatnot that's trying to, I don't know, eat their nuts or something. And it's very important. I feel like if you touch this cat's paw, you get like one arm that's like super fucking strong arm, and you can just kind of like Hellboy your way out of the restaurant. Whew. Anyways, all right, that's gonna be it for that. Are you guys ready for the response video? You guys ready to find out how your 5 senses prove that God exists. You've only got 3 senses? Oh yeah, that's right. COVID took out the other ones. All right, so here we go. This is a video. Let me actually get it pulled up on here so I can watch it, and I'll have to put in my earpiece. Make sure it's turned down. All right, here we go. The Celebrate Truth channel is normally a flat earth channel, but they also heavily believe in God, and they even tie in their flat earth belief to a biblical worldview. And I guess this is just one of the ways that they are doing that.
Your proof that God exists is the impossibility of the contrary. You couldn't know anything for sure unless God exists.
Okay, right off the bat here, that's just fucking crazy, okay? Because you're just speculating that God needs to exist in order to know anything for sure. For one thing, we are humans. We are restricted by our human experience. So as far as being 100% sure about things, I'm not exactly, like, we can be more sure than not. I think labeling something as 100% sure is when you're speaking scientifically is not the best way to go. You know, being so sure about something that it would take monumental amount of evidence to prove you wrong is one thing, but that's still not like 100%. That means it absolutely cannot be any other way. And I think in science, that's just not something that you do. All right.
You can use the same argument against it. Yeah,
you could. You could.
Because you're the one making the claim, though.
No, you don't understand. You don't understand what I'm saying. I'm going to say it again, and I want you to try to understand it, okay? The sure proof that God exists is the impossibility of the contrary. If God didn't exist, you couldn't know anything for sure.
Now, I've heard Christians say this before, and generally it's like their foundation for knowledge and being able to know things is in God. But they make that argument as a presupposition. They just presuppose that God has to exist in order for us to be able to know anything. But the problem that I have with that is that our minds, our ability to reason, our ability to use logic, our ability to sense things in this world is independent of God's existence. Whether or not God exists, right, it doesn't matter, because we are still here and we still have like our minds, you know, and our senses and everything like that. So regardless of whether or not God exists, our minds and senses exist separate from him. But for Christians, some Christians at least, they cannot separate God's existence from our own existence. Because the only way for them to really be able to understand why we exist is for God to exist.
Let me explain you what I mean by that. How do you? What's your epistemology? How do you know what you know? Just reasoning? But how do you know what you know? How do you receive knowledge into your life?
Reasoning, there's various reasons.
Well, yeah, so he's being he's trying to lead his interlocutor. We got a new member. Thank you so much there, Clarence. I appreciate you becoming a Skeptic Mafia member. You're awesome. Thank you so much for doing that. But he's trying to lead his interlocutor in a specific direction because he wants his interlocutor to answer a specific way so that he can perform some kind of gotcha type of thing. Now, as far as how do I get knowledge into, like, how do I integrate new knowledge into my worldview, or how do I receive knowledge? Well, I would say that I snort it. That's goddamn right. I just snort that new knowledge. What I do? Here's what I do, y'all. I grind up a textbook into a fine powder, and I put it in lines, and I go, oh, fuck calculus. And You wish Casey wishes it was that easy. But no. So I mean, obviously, the only way that we can get new information is to use our senses, right? The 5 senses that is the topic of this video. Smelling, seeing, touching, tasting, hearing. All of that is how you receive that information. But as far as like gaining knowledge about something or whatnot, it's not just about receiving that information through your 5 senses. It's also about being able to reason your way around it and try to understand the information that you're experiencing. And you can do that using logic and reason, and you can come to be rational about it, or you can be irrational about it. But the point is that it's not just a simple, oh, I touch something and that's how I get new knowledge, or I read something and that's how I get new knowledge. It's a very it's a complicated process, at least more complicated than just I smell something and now I know something more. Like, that's just not how it works, at least in my view.
There's various reasons. There's various modes of reason.
Well, tell me one of the ways you get knowledge into your life. Yeah, but don't you? So what do you mean by? So how do you know that's green right there? Those leaves. So your eyes. So that's how you. So like empiricism is how you know truth, by your eyes, your mouth, your nose, your ears, your touch. Okay. So the question becomes, because you're asking for evidence that God exists, right? Like tangible evidence. What's the tangible evidence you have that your 5 senses are working properly?
Okay, so here's the thing, is that as far as science goes, or being able to describe reality, we admit, initially, that our senses cannot be 100% trusted. That's why the scientific method is constructed the way that it is. It allows, the person to be wrong and come to a conclusion, and then for other people to test that and see if they were wrong, to see if maybe their senses were off. Science relies on the fact that our senses are flawed and that we can't necessarily trust them. And so that's why we have to provide repeatable experiments. We have to provide some kind of process that can be tested outside of ourselves to confirm that something really happens, right? It's not just some optical illusion. It's not just something because we can be fooled. If you think that your senses are 100% reliable, I have a bunch of optical illusions to show you. I have some auditory auditory things that I can let you listen to. That whole Yanni whatever in the fuck thing. That's one. There's several different things that I could show you where your senses would quote unquote lie to you, or your senses wouldn't 100% be able to really tell you what's going on. Okay, so the scientific information, the scientific process relies on the fact that our senses are not 100% trusted in general.
Let's say everyone says the same thing.
No.
Everyone.
Well,
all right, well,
you don't know that.
I mean, you can go.
You don't know that.
Okay, but like.
No, wait, you said it. You made an absolute question. That's universal. Everybody sees the same thing. Even if no one was colorblind and no one just saw black and white, you couldn't listen. You couldn't prove that because you don't know everybody.
All right.
So I don't know if you guys know this, but right there, he thinks that color blindness is when people see in black and white. Now, it's not that he's necessarily wrong, because severe color blindness results in you just seeing the world in shades of gray, right? This comes as a defect in the, I believe it's the cones in your eyes. Yeah, the cones. The cones in your eyes. The cones in your eyes detect red, green, and blue, right? And when those are defective, or they're not there at all, or in some other kind of way, you don't perceive the world as you should. And so it's not just people can't see color. That's not what color blindness is. Color blindness comes in many forms. I don't really need to lay them out right here because, like, seeing the world in shades of gray is an extreme version of color blindness that is very, very rare. All right, so it's weird that he thinks that. And I noticed that Cadence in the comments says that it's not our senses that are flawed, it's our brains that are flawed. And I didn't think about that because we could sense it correctly. It's just our brain's interpretation of the information. But I feel like that's still in the the path or the process of our senses gathering information. I feel like the brain being able to sort that out is kind of a major point in that. So I guess I was just considering it that way. But in any case, I still think that our senses can be flawed at least in some kind of fashion, to where whatever we perceive in this reality may not be actual reality. So anyways, thank you for that correction there, Cadence.
By the same token.
That statement assumes something.
Right.
That statement assumes that there's uniformity in nature. But if you're an atheist and there's no God behind everything we see and everything that's been created, why would you assume there's uniformity in nature? I would assume there's no uniformity. There's disorder in nature if evolution and the Big Bang create everything we see.
See, that doesn't really make sense to me at all, because science operates on the idea that there is uniformity in nature, right? I don't know why an atheist that doesn't think that God exists or doesn't believe in a God means that everything would have to just happen non-uniformly, right? That the laws of nature are not uniform. I don't know why those two things go together, and he doesn't really explain it here in this video, but I would actually think the opposite is true, that if God does exist and he...
Woo! That's KC's money.
Yeah, Wuhan gave KC some money saying, I missed a notification. What's up, y'all? Thank you so much for joining today there, Wuhan. But I would think that if God does exist and he performs these supernatural things in reality, and the supernatural exists in general, I would think that that would mean that nature is not uniform, and that you cannot always count on nature operating the exact same way. Now, why do we think that nature, like the natural processes and everything like that, operate uniformly? Well, basically because we have never experienced nature not being uniform. This actually comes out of a discovery in geology, because at one point in time they were trying to make a case for catastrophism being the way that the world was created, and they were trying to link that to the biblical account, saying that the last catastrophe was Noah's flood. Shit. Yeah, a little bit. No, I don't have
Hey, y'all know what? Anytime is a good time for a beer.
I don't know if you guys do this too, but just like whenever my hands are moving, it's just like fuck everything in its path. Yeah, I'll need some more. Fuck me. So let's see. While I'm cleaning this up, basically, uniformitarianism, which is what he's kind of shitting on right here, is the geologist Charles Lyell. I'm not going to try to remember the names of people that actually did this. Anyways, yeah, that's good. Can I get another beer? Oh yeah, I do. Sorry, it spilled and I thought it was all gone. Anyways, so they actually had this hypothesis that the laws of nature operated uniformly, and that's how the Earth came to be the way that it was. That a lot of processes working slowly over time that operated uniformly eventually shaped the Earth into the way that it was back in the 1800s. And we have not observed anything that would indicate that nature doesn't operate uniformly. When he's talking about here with the evolution and Big Bang, he's talking about introducing randomness or seemingly random events, like the universe randomly inflating without a cause or something like that, which that's not what the scientific hypothesis says about it. There is a cause. Now, what caused that quantum scalar field to fluctuate from a false vacuum to a true vacuum?
Oh,
it
shit,
doesn't
this is a
necessarily
bigger
need
one.
It doesn't necessarily need a cause in order for that to happen, but still we have but still there is a cause for the universe inflating, right?
Listen, donating this much money only secures your seat in hell.
Dave Lee's going to hell. And what he's trying to suggest here is that the universe inflating and evolution happening are random events that only happen by chance. And so that means that nature doesn't operate uniformly. What he's not really understanding, though, with his statement is that it's not exactly random, right? Now, if you want to look at true randomness or something that happens without any kind of cause at all, you can look at radioactive decay, because it's truly random and there's no perceivable cause as to which individual atom decays from the isotope element to the daughter element, right? There's no perceivable cause as to which exact atom is going to decay. Now, overall, in the general substance, it follows statistical laws, and that's why we have the half-life of it, right? So it's going to follow that, but as far as the individual atoms go, it's truly random as to which one decays. And so even though that exists in reality, that doesn't mean that nature can't be uniform. And he's trying to draw this conclusion that because what seems to him to be random events happening, that means that if God doesn't exist, that requires a non-uniformly operating universe. And that's just simply without any kind of evidence to support that kind of conclusion. He's just speculating. He's ad hoc suggesting this. Now that everything's cleaned up, I'm going to try not to, fuck my beer across the room. Okay. Thank you, honey. Drew's Book Reviews sent a super chat saying, law of entropy, order to disorder, fundamental law of the universe and well established. So if order comes from God, why does order decay to disorder? That's a really good question there, Drew. I didn't think about putting it that way as far as relating it to God. But yeah, I guess that's just what God wanted, right? Nightcore C12 says, other people can observe my actions if I touch an object and it has a crevice in the serpent. Somebody can see that they can check my observation to check their observation. Right. Independent verifiable results. Independently verifiable results. That's the key here. That's not what he doesn't understand science. Let's just get this straight. He's a flat earther. This guy right here, he's a fucking flat earther. He doesn't understand science whatsoever. And the fact that he thinks his senses are 100% accurate because of God existing is just it's what I would expect out of a flat earth. Dave Lee says new merch idea, GE sippy cups. It'll just be me spilling the sippy cup being like, fuck.
So how you receive knowledge into your world is through your five senses, and your five senses are not trustworthy and reliable, then you know nothing.
Right. I don't know if you guys caught that, but he says that unless your senses are 100% reliable, then you can know nothing. Because he accepts God exists, that means that his senses are 100% reliable. Regardless of how you want to split hairs with your senses being reliable, you can be wrong about things that you sense in this reality. And because of that, I don't think that means that God can't exist, but that does mean that he is wrong in his assumption that God exists because our senses are 100% reliable.
So then how does that lead to God being?
Because if God created you, with an intelligent being is behind the creation of you, I have a reason to think my five senses are reliable and trustworthy.
But you see, at no point in like just our common lives do we accept that our senses are 100%
We got a new member.
I know. Dragorm, thank you so much for becoming a member, man. You're awesome. At no point in our common lives do we accept that our senses are reliable. You know, we doubt things that we see all the time. We are fooled by optical illusions all the time. Again, that's probably our brain fucking around with the information that we receive. But I mean, still, that's in the pipeline of our senses, right? That's a major part of our senses. But at no other point, like if you think about in investigations, like by the police or whatever kind of law enforcement agency, if you think about it, they don't go off of like well, they go off of eyewitness testimony sometimes, but they don't consider it to be 100% reliable because people can be wrong about things. Just like our senses, we can be wrong about the things that we sense in this reality. So to have the naivete, is that the word? To have to be so naive to think that your senses are 100% reliable 100% of the time is just ridiculous to me. It's phenomenal that he thinks this. But of course, flat earther, he thinks that because he can't see a curve, that means that the earth is flat. Fucking makes sense that he would think this shit.
Okay, but then
if I gave you this watch and I said it's made by the best watchmaker in the world, and then I gave you another watch in the box and I had shook it up just a bunch of parts and tried to give it to you, which one would you believe told you the correct time?
I like the look on the guy's face right here because it's the exact look that I'd have. Like, what the fuck did you just ask me? He literally just said, that's your watch made by the best watchmaker. And then he supposedly takes out a box and he shakes it up and he gives them just this box of clock parts. And he's like, which one's going to tell you the better time? And it's like, well, I don't know. You went fucking crazy on that one and destroyed it and shook it up like a crazy fucking person and then asked me to tell time. And then I got this one that works. His entire point here is that just like what he thinks evolution is, or what the Big Bang entails, that just the randomness of things coming together and producing something, like he thinks that is how reality operates. He doesn't understand that there are causes and effects that go into the line of succession for how things came to be the way that they are. Like with evolution, it's not just this big random toss-up, because I've seen this demonstration with other things before. There's this one Muslim video, you can probably go and look it up, but this guy has this Lego helicopter, right, that he just pulls out all the Legos, disassembled, puts them in a bag, shakes it up, and then, you know, is expecting to have a helicopter out of it. I mean, he pulls the helicopter out of it, but he's trying to demonstrate how ridiculous evolution is. The idea that we evolved from ape-like creatures, and the ape-like creatures evolved from previous creatures and everything. He thinks that those things are analogous, just like this guy right here thinks that a watchmaker building a watch is the same thing as putting all the pieces in a box, shaking it up, and then expecting a watch to produce, right? It's a ridiculous analogy that doesn't even make sense as an analogy to either evolution or the inflation of the universe. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, because a created, intelligent being is behind it.
Complexity doesn't just point towards.
Well, I'm not talking about complexity. I'm talking about you being able to know something for sure.
Now, he's saying that he's not talking about complexity, but then he uses an example about how a complex object can come together. And but then he shifts it back over to, I'm talking about how you can know things. I feel like this conversation is going all over the place. He's not making a lot of sense in trying to converse with this young man. And I know I would be very agitated at this point because I wouldn't know what in the fuck he's trying to talk about. Because the example that he used is an example against evolution and basically just science and our description of reality in general, right? In favor of an intelligent designer creating things. Because that's what the whole watchmaker argument is supposed to be about. That, oh, well, if you see a watch on a beach, you don't think that it just randomly came together through the forces of nature. You think a person designed it. And it's like, yes, we think a person designed it because we don't know any kind of natural process out there that can explain how a watch can self-assemble, right? Other than somebody creating it. But what we do have are natural explanations for how like life evolved on this earth. We have natural explanations for how planets form and all this other stuff. It's not random in the sense that he's thinking it. It's just a consequence of cause and effect. Many different causes and effects precede the creation of a planet or a planet forming.
Listen, donating this much money only secures your seat in hell.
Night Core's going to hell, y'all. This has to be one of the worst arguments I've ever seen. Exactly, it is. I mean, because he's jumping all over the place and he's using these arguments, but he's trying to say that these arguments prove something different, namely that he can't know anything, but he can know something, and that's independent of whether or not God exists.
Okay, but
unless there's some intelligent being behind your five senses,
right,
and that's how you have knowledge according to you, you can't know anything for sure.
Well, that's just a baseless statement. I mean, you're just speculating that a God is necessary in order for our five senses to work. I don't understand the connection that he has to God with the five senses, because like God doesn't control our five senses. God isn't necessary for our five senses because they're biological systems, and those biological systems exist separate from the supernatural. The fact that we can hear, smell, taste, touch things in reality, it means that they're not supernatural. Jesse Shodel sent a $5 saying this is just regurgitated Darth Dawkins nonsense. Oh, he gave me a beer. Beer money! I agree there, Jesse.
right.
So as an atheist, you know nothing for sure.
Right. Yeah.
In fact, you don't even know that for sure.
I mean, yeah, if you want to divulge into philosophical things, yeah.
So when he's saying for sure, that's a very vague like standard to apply here. Because it's like, what do you mean by for sure? Do you mean that you know 100%? Because I wouldn't say that I know anything for 100%, but do I know things for sure? Yeah. At least in my view, for sure means that it's more likely than not that this thing is true, right? More likely than not, vastly more likely than not, evolution is true. Vastly more likely than not, the inflation of the universe happened. So I guess it really depends on what you mean by for sure. What I think that this guy right here, the flat earther, is referring to is 100% a surety in this. And as far as like a scientific standard goes, I would not place anything at 100%. Because like, let's say for whatever reason, you can prove that we're all living in a simulation, right? That nothing is real and that we're all quote unquote brains in a vat, right? Let's say that you can prove that, or we're living in the Matrix or something. Then that means that these microphones, these lights and everything like that aren't real in the sense that they're physical objects. I sense them, but this is just another way in which somebody's fucking with my senses, or something's fucked up with my senses that I think that they're real, right? Let's just say that. This guy right here thinks that everything that he sees, touch, and feels he's 100% sure about it. But if you had that kind of evidence to show me that they are not real, then I would have to change what I think is real, right? So we leave room for that to be a possibility, but it's like so vanishingly small, it's most likely not the situation, at least given our current understanding. But he thinks, as well as other Christian apologists, he thinks that you have to be absolutely certain about things. And I just don't think that that's how our world operates whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a vicious circle.
Right.
You don't know anything for sure.
That's the reality, though. That's my opinion.
No, the reality is I do know stuff for sure, and you live like you know stuff for sure. You live like those leaves are green. You live like this sidewalk is here. You live like you have shoes on your feet right now.
Right.
You live like we're actually having a conversation. And so that tells me you're actually assuming God does exist.
You see, I hate this. I like the look. This guy has some really great like pause faces, because he's just like, is this guy serious right now? Like, what the fuck is he talking about? But I hate it when people tell me that I'm living like God exists, or I actually do believe God exists. I'm just suppressing the knowledge or the belief that he exists, right? Because I literally don't believe in God. I don't think that God exists, at least in any kind of fashion that we know of now. Or that anybody has claimed that God exists, any definition like that. I don't think that any of those things are real. So to say that I'm living like God exists is just telling me that I live like God exists, or I secretly think that God exists, is just an inflammatory thing to make somebody mad. It's very insulting, because he's not living that way. I mean, this guy right here, have yet to prove that God is necessary to know anything. Being that our minds exist separate from the supernatural, and our senses definitely exist separate of the supernatural, I would think that you would need to prove that God is necessary for our senses and our brains and our use and ability to use rationality and reason. I think that you would need to prove that God is necessary for those things to exist. But the problem is that apologists just presuppositionally state that. They just say that God is necessary for it. I know Seitan Bruggencate, he's one of the famous presuppositionalist apologists that always says he always says that God is necessary to know anything, and he presuppositionally defines it because he automatically assumes that God exists, and therefore he shifts the burden of proof onto the atheist to prove that God doesn't exist. But that's not how shit works. That's not the null hypothesis. The null hypothesis in this situation is that our minds and our senses operate separate from the supernatural world, if that even exists. Nightcore C12 said, I'll probably just walk away from this guy if he approached me on the street asking me these questions. I agree. I would just listen. I would hear his questions, and then I'd just be like, yeah, y'all have a good day. I'm just going to fuck off. Because there's no productive conversation to be had with this kind of person. Although I know I would have fun arguing with him, because I would also be a bit I would be a bit inflammatory towards him. I just know it. I mean, I had a Bigfoot debate on just recently. That was what won me the $666 in the UDC Championship belt. I did a debate on Bigfoot. I brought up Native American dildos. Dildos and 3-dick sloths. So, I just know that I would be very inflammatory towards him. He would probably actually walk away from me.
Because God has to exist for you to do those things and be sure they're actually happening.
No, he doesn't. I don't know. Is he wiping away some spit from his face because the guy gave him a shower? Like, I wonder if that's what happened there. Like, the guy spit in his face and he's just like, motherfucker, what? Trickster said a super chat. Gesundheit. You okay? Did you see Jesus? Her back cracked. God damn, that's a violent one right there. Trickster says this guy is Ray Comfort in 10 years. I think this guy's probably younger than Ray Comfort. I don't know though.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, she does. I just proved it to you.
How do you make the jump from assuming the pavement is under me to then there
That's
being a God?
because you know that from your five senses, which could not be reliable and trustworthy unless an intelligent being was behind them.
I don't know what he means by that, because I feel like what he means by an intelligent being is behind your five senses. I feel like what he's talking about is that an intelligent being created you and your five senses. That's why you can trust them. But the problem is that you can't trust them. You know, at least not in 100% fashion. Like, as far as the situation that he's with there, it's highly unlikely that he's not standing on concrete. Or on the ground in general. It's highly unlikely that's not the situation unless that whole simulation theory thing is true. But he's trying to suggest that you need an intelligent designer in order to design your five senses in order for you to trust them. And I just don't see that link whatsoever. He's just presuppositionally saying that God is necessary without providing any kind of evidence.
You don't believe there's an intelligent being behind him, so really you're not standing on cement on a sidewalk. You don't really have black boots on. That's not really green.
My brain can be.
Well, no, that's not what that means. Because for this guy back this way, this guy, it's necessary for God to exist for those things to be true. But for him, being that he lives in reality, it's not necessary because he can know these things, but also not believe that a God exists, because these things exist separate from God. And really this is a completely separate subject from whether or not a God exists, because whether or not we're created by God, we're still faced with the biological systems that we have, right? We're still faced with the issues that we have and everything like that. It exists separate from God. So whether or not God exists and created us, it doesn't mean that, you know, whether or not it has nothing to do with whether or not we can trust our five senses, because we definitely can't trust our five senses.
Yeah.
You just beg the question. How do you know your brain's intelligent?
But I ask this question all the time. Do you think the brain in itself, human brain?
But what are you using to study brains? Brains. How do you know those brains are actually intelligent?
Okay, but like we can keep going like that.
But listen, if what's your kind behind the making of you is nothing intelligent.
Okay, but what? All right.
Nothing intelligent behind the making of you, just blind random chance over millions of years. Why would you trust that you're actually intelligent?
Well, so the whole blind random chance thing, he's just talking about nature operating uniformly. That's what the whole blind random chance thing is. And it's not really like blind random. There are causes that lead from one, like there's a cause and there's effect, and then that effect is a cause for another thing to happen. And there's this long chain of things that lead up to the diversity of life that we have here on Earth. And what he's really arguing against, I feel, is the notion that God wasn't necessary for life to exist here on Earth. And he's trying to attack evolution by attacking atheism. And you know, in order to frame it that way, you have to woefully misrepresent what evolution is, what the scientific theory about evolution is, and you have to woefully misunderstand what it means to be like random in that fashion, because it's not really random. There are things that lead up to it. He just perceives them to be random, and it's kind of funny now that I think about it. He's using his senses to determine that it's completely random. Thank you, Eric. He's using his senses to determine that it's completely random. But in reality, they're not random. they have causes behind them that go all the way back in a causal chain that you could trace if you knew everything in the universe. And so he's woefully misrepresenting the evolutionary process in general. And he's doing it in a very confusing way. It's kind of like, it's like he's beating around the bush of the argument he wants to make, and he's not actually making the argument that he's leading to.
Why would you trust your physicists are reliable and trustworthy?
That's a philosophical question.
It sure is, and that's the problem we're dealing with. No, this is exactly what it leads to, because when you begin to believe what you should believe, what you know really is true, that God does exist, you begin to seek after him to see what he's like, to know what he's like.
Yeah, that's the Celebrate Truth guy. I think his name's Robbie. I don't know. Anyways, so that's it. Let me get back to the main cam real quick. That's it. He basically, what the video tonight breaks down to is a presuppositional attitude towards biological systems, as well as, how this universe started in general, and saying that you need God to exist and to have created you in order for you to trust your senses. But that assumes that you should trust your senses or your ability to make sense of whatever you're sensing. And it makes sense coming from a flat earther that he would 100% trust the senses, because it requires him to 100% trust the senses. Being that, like, when you look out to the world and you see that it's flat, therefore the earth is flat. That requires you to think that your senses cannot be misleading you in that way. Mainly, your vision is not misleading you to think that you're on a flat surface. But because of the fact that you're small, you're on the surface of the earth, and you're not seeing the full picture, your senses are, in a sense, lying to you about where you're at. So it makes a lot of sense that he would think that the senses are 100% reliable because God created you. And it's very weird to hear people actually say this. Especially considering the number of times when you hear something and it's not really there. I mean, all the time I think that I hear Xander calling out my name, and it's not really Xander calling out my name. That would be an instance where, my brain interpreted information coming in from my senses that was wrong, right? You shouldn't trust your senses 100%. Science operates on the assumption that your senses cannot be 100% absolutely trusted. Science requires you to be able to independently test and make sure that other people experience the same thing that you do. That is the basis of science, and it always has been since science was started. So, or at least I forget what movement, the Enlightenment period. Ever since then, ever since the scientific method has been the primary method for determining truth in reality, or determining what really happens in reality. Ever since then, we have understood that our senses cannot be 100% trusted in whatever way you want to point out. Eric Hamian.
Oh shit, this is a bigger one.
Eric Hamian said, the more a person just fully trusts that they're intelligent, the less intelligent they're likely to be. Yes, Dunning-Kruger is exactly what this guy is experiencing. Cadence says, the thing about the street apologists is they only show the videos online of the ones they successfully trap, then manipulate the audience. It's sickening. Yes, that's exactly what Ray Comfort does too. He edits his... I've actually got a video where I expose the edits that Ray Comfort did on my interview with him, and show how he manipulates the video to make it seem like I'm either not responding to something, or I accept something, or he's getting through to me. Like, he just deceptively manipulates stuff. So, well, that's going to be it for the video tonight. I'm really glad that everybody showed up. You guys are awesome, especially with the time change for the live stream. I'm really glad that you're all here. I'm sorry that I nearly destroyed my beer tonight. Yeah. Can I get the lawn troll one? Can? I really appreciate you guys being here tonight. I appreciate everybody that joined the Skeptic Mafia tonight. That would be Dragoram and Clarence. Both of you guys are awesome. Everybody that did a super chat, you guys are awesome. We're going to be able to really do some great stuff next month with the charities. I don't know exactly what we're going to be doing yet. We normally just sort of, play it by ear as far as what is kind of necessary or what people need. So we'll be letting you guys know where that's going to go. If you will, please smash the like button before you leave out, as well as subscribe if you like this kind of live stream. Normally it's on Friday nights at 8:30 p.m. Central, so just keep that in mind. And don't forget to stand up and use your voice. We're about to go into the Skeptic Mafia comments, but if you're leaving out right now, I hope you guys have a lovely weekend and everything like that. I will see you heathens later. But don't go, because we're about to go and look at the Skeptic Mafia comments. And the Skeptic Mafia comments, y'all, are always just the best. I have to say that I love reading the comments from the Skeptic Mafia, mainly because they usually pick out things that I don't. Like, they'll clue into things that I don't think about, or they'll mention things that I don't think about, or they do mention things that I think about, and it just reinforces my thoughts. It makes me feel better, I guess, about myself, that I'm not the only one that thinks these things. So let me, oh no, I got an oopsie page. Let's see. Uh-oh. It caused me to switch accounts. Thank you, hon. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Let us go to the Skeptic Mafia comments. Maybe it'll pull it up automatically. Maybe it won't. Who knows? There we go. Zoomed in here. All right. Make sure everything's still cool over here on the chat. Looks like it. Okay. All right. So in the Skeptic Mafia, we've got Daniel M. first up, who says another argument from intelligent design. Yes, it's also called the ontological argument for anybody that's curious. If you ever hear that word being thrown around, it's just the intelligent design argument. I wasn't convinced, and I don't think the guy he was talking to was either. My thought is that the person asking the other guy, I don't want to say atheist because I did not hear him say it, and I don't want to assume, questions, was randomly approached by the bearded one. The younger guy did not look like he wanted to be there. He had his arms crossed and kept backing away slightly. I would too. If you are a Christian, don't approach random people in the street and start berating them. There are ways to have those particular conversations without annoying the piss out of people. Do Christians really think that they can win them over to God by annoying the shit out of them? Yes. Hell, if that actually works, I will annoy Trump into giving me all of his money. Hey, you should join the Skeptic Mafia. There is no initiation, just a small fee that helps others, and we are a family. Join, and together we can make Ray puke. GE, you should make an emoji of Ray blowing chunks. That would be funny. Not a bad idea for our next emoji. Oh. Right. On Oh, you did? Okay. I will refresh then. apparently not up. So thank you so much, Daniel M. If you guys are wondering, I'm drinking the Lawn Patrol light ale again. These are all light beers that I've been drinking, so it's about 100 calories or so, which means that it's low carb. Tasty. I love craft beers. Vanta Blue is next up. Vanta Blue says, why does it feel like they cut the video just as the corner kid was starting to wrap his mind around how to refute and retort? Very aggressive preacher, too. Not letting the kid have much of a chance to think for a moment. Well, I mean, you can't... these street apologists, they can't allow the other person to actually reason their way around whatever they're saying. Because then that's going to make them look, the fool. And they can't have that. Quentin Van Boeven. Quentin says, on my 5 seconds into the video, and this dude is already coming off as an unlikable douche. I guess if you presuppose God exists and cannot think of a way everything comes into existence. I don't even know how to pronounce that name. That was a crazy name. I'll have to try that here in a minute. And cannot think of a way everything comes into existence without God, then yes, he exists. The issue is that that only gets you to a God, and you'll be hard-pressed to find someone that says that there is not a God that exists and just set things into motion, and since then has sat back and watched everything unfold like a movie. The issue then becomes you jumping from this God to the Christian God. This guy would most certainly index at 1. Oh, fuck him then. If he indexes at 1, he can fuck right off this planet. Off of the edge. Well, heathens, that's just about my time before I must mention that y'all should hit those like, share, and subscribe buttons so that GE here gets looked favorable upon by the AI overlord that run YouTube. Also, if you can consider hitting that join link to become part of the Mafia, again, I mean the Skeptic Mafia, I'm not suggesting that you get involved in organized crime. It's just not worth it. Unlike the Skeptic Mafia, which is totally worth it. I mean, the whale peen emoji is worth the price of admission alone, and if that doesn't sell you, there are other emojis. A weekly podcast, a monthly hangout, the ability to help choose Friday's videos, the ability to make comments like this, where GE will say damn near anything you write, such as, I, John Gleason, wholeheartedly believe indexing at 1 is correct, and that Star Trek is better than Star Wars, and that my lovely wife Casey is always right even when she's wrong. Oh, and can't forget about the Discord channel. All right, that's my time. Remember, heathens, stand up and use your voice. I do not agree with indexing at 1. No. No. Do not index at 1. Gary White is next up. Thank you so much there, Quentin, for your comment. Gary White says, okay, looking like a dumpster fire to me. A presuppositional dumpster fire, yep. Cadence says, nothing pisses me off more than a street apologist cornering someone else into a unprepared debate and then purposefully and deliberately twisting the unprepared off-the-cuff answers against them. Yeah, I hate that too. It's really hard to think kind of on your feet, which is why these live streams aren't all that well researched or well put together, I guess, maybe, because most of the time it's just off the cuff. But that comes with dealing with these bullshit arguments all the time. That I guess I can at least put together a cogent counter argument. May not be the best counter argument, but at least it is understandable at most times. Thank you so much, Cadence, for your comment. Eric Hamian says, our reasoning and senses aren't like a perfectly crafted watch, though. Say I handed you a sundial that works just well enough so you're usually not late for work, but you can't rely on it for anything more than that. It's just good enough to keep you alive, because if you don't show up for work, you can't afford food, so you starve. And say I told you that this crude, imprecise sundial was created by the most absolutely perfectest watchmaker in the entire world. Would you believe me? Well, Yeah, so I mean, I would believe you that it was created by the best watchmaker or whatnot. It would probably cost a lot of money, but I think the better question is, does that make it more trustworthy? Like, can you, does it make it absolutely trustworthy just because the best watchmaker made it? But I get your point there, Eric. Thank you so much. Michael W. Roble says pre-suppers make my brain hurt. I'm glad I'm not the only one that thought he sounded very presuppositionally. Whatever. Until they can provide evidence for the factualness of their first premise that a God exists, everything else they say is irrational babbling. So when a pre-supper starts a dishonest diatribe, just ask them to justify their assumption that there is a creator God. If you don't back down, they usually will. Show me the evidence. I definitely agree. Being able, like, when you're in a conversation like that, telling them to justify how they know that to be true usually stops them in their tracks. Like this guy right here says that it's impossible for us to trust our senses without God. It's like, oh, well, how do you know that? And then he'll go into his intelligent design spiel, and you can easily argue against that. And so he hasn't actually supported his position that God is necessary for our senses to exist. He's still only presuppositionally defined. Drew's book reviews. Oh, thank you so much, Michael, for your comment. Drew's book reviews. Wait, the proof of God's existence is in that it's impossible for him not to exist? That is some really messed up reasoning. I don't even get his argument. It's just full of statements and saying, God, that's why. Exactly. I am pretty sure that it is that it has been proven time and time again that our senses can be deceived and thus are not reliable. So, based on this guy's argument, 1, we have 5 senses: touch, taste, smell, hear, sight. 2, we can't trust our senses are reliable unless God exists. Since we can trust our senses, therefore God exists. Science has proven time and time again that our senses cannot be relied on as foolproof, i.e. optical illusions, are a really simple way to demonstrate this. 5, thus our senses are not reliable. 6, therefore God does not exist. There, I just disproved his argument using his own reasoning. That was easy. And until next week, keep on reading. That was a pretty good syllogistic way to go about it there, Drew. I do agree that the fact that our senses can be fooled means that our senses are not 100% reliable. Therefore, his argument just simply doesn't work. Trickster! Trickster says, thank you so much for your comment there, Drew. Trickster says, he begins his side of the conversation with a presumption. Should always start with facts, things you can prove. He asks the guy in the light if the light is green. Is it? Is it green to a dog or a cat? Would it be green in a different light spectrum? That light looks green, yes or no? Asking how we know things exist is a stupid question, especially when trying to prove you're God. I can see the ground I am standing on. I can smell the flowers as I walk by. I can even taste a peach I have plucked for the tree I know is real because I can touch it. Can I touch God? Can I see God? Can I even smell God? I don't know. I have to say, though, Casey's baked potatoes are heavenly, so maybe? He brings up order in nature. Boy, what a bad direction to go. Nature is far from orderly. In fact, a lot of times it's quite messy. Nature is not ordered no matter how much pareidolia you use. If God exists, in another bad turn on this little conversation about how you can prove your God exists. If Bigfoot exists, if pink unicorns exist, even if universe-creating pixies exist, all the same. He tops it off by trying to convince this poor guy that humans are intelligent beings because they can make a watch. Does he not know about Trump supporters? Like, subscribe, and share this. GE and his beautiful wife are really great people, and you could help them continue to be great people by joining the Skeptic Mafia, and in return, GE will give you a bunch of stuff to play with while watching one of his streams. You also get to watch the Friday video early and drop a comment about the vid. GE, did I miss anything? Well, we do have that podcast that is usually weekly, but hopefully we're going to get back into the groove of things with it being weekly. This week it was a little late. Hopefully next week we can get it actually going, decent, decently weekly, I guess. But yeah, also I don't think that he was necessarily meaning that nature, like the things that happen in nature, are orderly or not chaotic. I think what he was meaning is that nature operates in an orderly fashion. And he's basically arguing against uniformitarianism, just that nature operates the same in the past as it does now, and it happens in between and even into the future. It will always operate in the same fashion. I feel like that's what he was getting at. So I don't know how that affects what you said, but I definitely agree some things.
We got a new member.
Fuck yeah, Kirk, becoming a member and shit. Look at you.
We got a new member.
Oh shit, we got another one. M. Luke. Thank you so much.
We got a new member.
And another one, Mike. Wow, you guys really turning out tonight.
We got a new member.
Shit. Oh wait, I think people's shit's like renewing now.
We got a new member.
Everybody's subscriptions are renewing. I think it's a little crazy. All right. Okay, so next up is Chrismer and the Derp Squirrels. Chrismer says, I can know things for sure. For instance, I know for sure that his God doesn't exist. Actually, I do agree with that. Nah, I can't say that. I'd say there's about a 0.001% possibility that his God exists, because Shinto has 8 million creator gods. Taoism has millions of creation gods. Most of the Eastern religions have multiple creator gods. If their God has a possibility to exist, then the Yek God has a possibility as well. It's all about probability. It's all statistical. Anyway, ASCII time! I'm not exactly sure what that's supposed to be there, Chrismer. I don't know who that's supposed to be. Is that supposed to be me? Is it me? It kind of looks like me. It's got like the widow's peak and everything. It's supposed to be. That is so awesome. Thank you so much there, Chrismer. That's cool. Thank you. Best ASCII ever, right? Anyways, y'all have a great night. Remember to stand up and use your voice. Unless you're a flurf who decides to prove God or anything else exists. Sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up. If you guys don't know, which Chrismer, I don't know if you want to tell people like the channel that you're currently working on, because I think it might be NASA Blackside 33. Something like that. Chrismer, if you want to let people know where you guys are going to be streaming tonight, feel free to do that in the chat right there. Because he's going to be streaming later on tonight. If you guys want to go and hang out with them, I'm sure they would love for you guys to go there. Getting back to the comment, but don't go just yet. Make sure you go ahead and lick the like button. Gently massage the subscribe button, and if you feel so inclined, go ahead and join the Skeptic Mafia. He has tiers. Tears! Yes, you heard right. Let John go ahead and take it away for the shilling segment of this. Hey, so the first tier is the shield tier. It's the cheapest on the list, that you can get access to the emojis, which we most of the time we premiere all of our videos here. So anytime there's a premiere going on, you can use the emojis. You can also use the emojis in the comment section if you want to look, I guess, superior to all the other commenters. But you can use them in the comments. You can use them in the premiere chat. You can use them in the live stream chat. You got that. You've also got the podcast. You've got the Discord channel. We provide a lot of shit for being in the Skeptic Mafia here. You definitely get your money's worth. Christopher goes on to say, oh, and if you do join the Skeptic Mafia, you can get him to say something like this: Star Trek is far superior to Star Wars in any way, shape, or form. Love you, KC. Everybody's on your side about this. I don't understand it. I'm wrong. Okay. All right. I see where this is going. We're going to binge watch all the Star Wars movies. See, that's what you get. Hellbound Hillbilly says, I don't know why my comment comparing this dude to Kanye and the way he keeps interrupting won't pose, but I'm going to try to at least shield for the Skeptic Mafia, one of the best mafias of all time. Of all time! Thank you, Hellbound Hillbilly. Jonathan Nickel! Jonathan Nickel says, I am hearing a lot of presuppositionalist assertions from this guy. Presuppositionalism boils down to two claims: that their worldview can explain reality and that no other worldview can. They never do anything honest to try and back up either of those beliefs. Good point there, Jonathan. It's true. He tries to claim that we can't trust our senses, and to an extent that is true. Our senses can be deceived, but we don't just rely on those to make sense of the world. That is where evidence, experimentation, and the peer review process comes into play. This is the common presup tactic of trying to claim that what we experience may not be real. But even if that were true, the door would swing both ways. We can't trust what we perceive, then he too cannot accept anything to be real, including his God. He says you can't know anything without God, but he does not back up this claim. He does not show how a God would be required for us to trust our senses. He merely asserts it over and over. Incidentally, we have far more than 5 senses, however common it may be to consider the 5 most familiar ones. How about equilibroception, balance, proprioception, proprioception, awareness of the location of our hands in respect to our bodies, thermoception, the ability to sense heat, a nearby heat source, or nociception? Fuck me. Pain? I wonder if he would say that his God is responsible for that one, especially if he considers God to be benevolent. I have used some long words in that last paragraph, but I know an even longer one. Floxinopilification. Floxinopilification is the act of asserting something to be worthless, and I'd say that sums up his entire video. We're learning shit right now, okay, guys? So let's.
Floxinopilification.
I sincerely disagree with whoever is pronouncing this. Just on
Floxinopilification. Floxinopilification.
Floxinopilification. I think I got it. Thank you for the fucking word of the day there, Jonathan Nickel. Urban Imposter says, another channel suffering from the truth paradox. Can I see God? No. Insert something invisible quality is something else here. Can I taste God? No, I'm not going there. Can I smell God? No, I can smell the BS that theists put out. Can I touch God? No, his servants apparently do plenty of that. That's true. Can I hear God? No, what I do hear is you liking, subscribing, and smashing that like button. Sleepy in Seattle. This guy must have gone to the Christian Apologist School of Debate. Don't let your opponent talk and baffle them with bullshit. I know the intelligence behind my 5 senses. Me! That's a good point. Full stop. Today I learned I I need to hunt up some medical cannabis for my essential trimmer. Definitely sleepy. Who's your buddy? Says, great, another apologist asshat that has endless assertions telling others that they have no evidence for their assertions. Also, try engaging with what he's saying. Simply saying nuh-uh isn't an actual refutation. Good point. Jonathan Hanachek also says, well, this should be a dumpster fire. Can't wait to see you later tonight. Never remember, KC, almost always right. Command Cyborg says, I'll be short today. Priestess are just so annoying. I think that's supposed to be Christians. Highest degree of dishonest. That's all, folks. Smash all the buttons. Ring the bell. I mean to say bell to precept flurfers are bull. Oh, ring the bull. I mean to say bell, the precept flurfers are bull. Join the cause. Whelping, lol. Transmission terminated. Thank you so much, Command Cyborg. The Rune Warrior says, that's not how color blindness works. I had to watch it twice in order to pick up on that. I'm so glad you were able to catch it on the first way through, because like I didn't catch it until about the third time I went through it. And I was just like, wait a second. That's not how it works. And Clyde 950 says, I tried watching, but it's just not the same without your commentary. Oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad that you guys like that. Like my commentary. Oh man, it's not the best commentary, but it's commentary. Anyways, tonight's been awesome, guys. If you got any quick questions or anything like that in the comments, I will be happy to go over them. Vadim asked me to say a really long word that looks like it's a fear of hippopotamuses. Hippopotami or something. I don't know. Hold on. Let me see if I can get it to... Oh, here's a YouTube video about how to pronounce it.
Hippopotamonstrosis quipedaliophobia. Hippopotamonstrosis quipedaliophobia.
Hippopotamonstrosis quipedaliophobia.
Hippopotamonstrosis.
Oh, it cut off mid. Oh, yeah, I did. I read it. Pineapple Platypotamus says, have you read Groundbreaking Science Key Control? It's the energy from Dragon Ball Z, and it's real and not religious. It's free online. Join the team. I haven't seen that, but I will definitely check it out, I guess. Read my super chat, man. No fear. Okay. All right. Like I said, let's see. Cadence says, here's a question. Should I have something with fish or a burger for dinner tonight? Okay, so, I mean, it depends on what kind of fish. If you're talking about, like, blackened mahi, yeah, that's really good. I would probably go with blackened mahi. I'm not exactly sure what kind of fish. I mean, if you could give me some more indication. Typically, burger is the route that I usually go because I love hamburgers, obviously. Y'all can hear that resonating throughout the entire universe. But fish can be good. It just depends on what kind of fish. Apparently, she has all kinds of fish. Every fish. Everybody else is saying go burger. Yeah, so I think tonight I'm probably going to be playing some Magic the Gathering, the Magic Arena thing. I'll probably be doing that. It's also a 2 XP weekend for Call of Duty Warzone. So I'll probably play some of that and then play some Magic. I'm also trying to finish Doom right now. So right now that's kind of what I'm looking at doing with the rest of my night. I'm not gonna actually make you watch every single Star Wars in existence, honey. Apparently Cadence has fish sticks. Fish sticks are good. I mean, those are always good to go with. Although, you know, what you could do, Cadence, is you can have both. You can have a burger, just have like one burger, but then instead of like fries or something, do a few fish sticks. That's bad advice? That is good advice right there. That is solid advice. You get best of both worlds. You can use ketchup for both of them too, so you know it works. Yeah. I'm a horror to her. My lovely wife. I'm a horror. I'm like the fucking... Caden says, fish stick burger! Gary White says, pray for my sanity. I'm working at a job with a bunch of idiots. Or how do you handle idiots at work? Generally, generally I just try not to interact with them too much. And I usually try to have to hold my tongue because I don't want to get fired. I try not to make a lot of trouble with them, but still push back against them. Generally, what that's gotten me in the past is they have ended up yelling at me, so it really just makes them look bad. Now I saw Vadim say, does Josephus play MTG? Not right now. He hasn't yet, although I think that would be a pretty hilarious like gaming video to put on the gaming channel that I never play on. Just Josephus being like, yes, motherfucker, you take out my goddamn vampire, and I swear to Christ, I'm throwing down this marauding priest, and we'll fuck you up, okay, motherfucker? Oh, you want to get sassy with me now, do you? Laying down another goddamn land? I will fuck your shit up. Fuck your land. You have no idea how many times I've been playing Magic the Gathering, and I'm like, listen, you take out my vampire and I will fuck you up. and I just have to sit here and laugh at myself because Casey's looking at me like, oh my God, what have I married? And she still loves me even though I bitch at people while playing Magic the Gathering about vampires and other creatures that I can cast. Jane asks, have you ever bought the Impossible Burger meat? You make hamburgers. If not, you should try it. We have tried it. It didn't sit well with us at all. So I haven't tried it again. It kind of, the textures are weird. And like I said, it didn't sit well. Vadim says Josephus totes should play Angels and Gods MTG and drop Wrath of Gods. Yeah, Casey hated the Impossible meat. Yep. Although turkey bacon is delicious. It's obviously not Impossible meat, but anyways. Jonathan said, I would love to get in on a game of Magic the Gathering with you. I don't know, Jonathan, if you want to message me, I can give you my MTG Arena username, and you know, we can hook up there and maybe play sometime. Michael W. Robles says, my neighbor, world famous oceanographer Dr. Sylvia Earle, only eats farm raised fish because the ocean is overstressed. Interesting. Well, yes, the ocean is full of plastic. The cat dude is question begging, world because God, and so God because world. Well, yeah, I mean, basically that's what he was saying. Anyways, guys, I need to go. I got to call my son here in a little bit. Also, we have to eat, and we're gonna go do that. Yeah, so Casey's making apple butter barbecue pork chops tonight, along with her heavenly baked potatoes. So we're gonna go do that. I hope that you heathens have a lovely weekend. Thank you so much for sticking it out with me this weekend, getting through all the technical difficulties and everything like that. Next month we're gonna do awesome shit with charities and everything, and I hope to see you guys there. And as always, don't forget to stand up and use your voice. Bye, heathens. We'll see you guys later.